want to just give Carol a shout out for all she does for this community and for inviting me. So thank you, Carol.
Yeah.
And I don't know where he went, but Jim, let's give a shout out to Jim, who owns this wonderful fish camp. When Carol asked me to come and speak to you all this morning, I said yes right away. I will never forget everything you all did for me in the race in 2018. We hit our win number, we had a lot of money in the race, and we were out there. We just got beat, and we're going to make sure that doesn't happen this time. So congratulations to the candidates. And I have to just pause for a minute to Nancy Soderberg for everything she's done to be in the trenches. It's tough in Lake County to be a Democrat sometimes. And you're just fearless out there. Look at all of you who came out this morning. Absolutely incredible. And I just love the Lake County Golden Triangle. So thank you for everything you did in 2018. I know that we're out there organizing to win in 2020. And all of you are the key to the backbone of not just winning up and down the ballot in Lake County, but also to making sure that Florida goes blue in 2020. With your help, we'll make sure that Social Security is affordable, Medicaid is available, healthcare is available to everybody and affordable to be good quality jobs, good education. Protecting the right of our returning citizens, and of course protecting this gorgeous environment. That's what we're all here to fight for, and because of you, we can do that. Many of us marched last weekend to build on our country's founder belief that we were all created. Raise your hand if you're out there marching last weekend to see that. But we marched last weekend to build on our country's belief that we were all created equal, and that we're endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among those are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But that dream is deferred for far too many. Dr. Martin Luther King marched for that dream for all Americans, and because of his inspiration, people of all colors, creeds, and means marched. And they changed America. But our work is not complete, because we know that the dream of equality is still denied for far too many. And that we know that the arc of the universe may bend toward justice, but it doesn't do it on its own. It requires every one of us to be out there and bending that arc. And it won't change just because we marched last weekend. It will change because people in this room are going to go and vote in November. People in this room are going to make sure that your neighbors vote in November, that your families, even people that you don't know, vote in November. Because when we all vote, guess what? We win. Say it with me. When we vote, we win. When we vote, we win. That's why we're going to get out and double our efforts to make sure that we stop the purging of voters. You know that the Republicans purged 2-to-1 Democrats, and the voter at 2-to-1 in this state, which means we have to work harder to register more voters. Look at those slim margins that we lost last November. Mayor Andrew Gillum, 30,000 votes. Senator Bill Nelson, a mere 12,000 votes. Had a few more thousands turned out to vote, we'd have one more vote in the Senate to stand up to special interests. We'd have a governor who would protect the right of our returning citizens instead of an illegal poll tax on almost 1 million returning citizens. And we'd have expanded Medicaid to make sure that all of us are healthy. And that's why it's so important to turn out in 2020. No less than the future of not just this state, but of the country. Florida is the future of this country. And that's why you will make sure that we get out and vote. Because when we vote, what happens? We win! And we're going to win in 2020. Since I did not make it last fall, or a year ago now, in 2018, I joined the Florida Florida Board of Trustees of the Democratic Party, and we've been working to raise, we raised $6 million last year, we're going to do another $8 million this year, and we're out fielding not just a voter protection staff, a Hispanic outreach staff. We've got organizers, almost 100 already in place, paid full-time staff, more than the Republicans have in the state at the moment. And we're working to register 200,000 new voters by next summer. So, whoever is the nominee of our very diverse and talented field will come to Florida with 200,000 new registered voters, with protections for the voter suppression that we all know that happens, poll rise, and we will be positioned to make sure that Florida goes blue in 2020. If Donald Trump can't win Florida, he will not get reelected. It's simple as that. But to secure the gains this country makes requires constant vigilancy and not complacency. And that's why I'm so delighted to see so many of you out here this morning. And whether it's by challenging those who erect new barriers to vote or ensuring that the scales of justice works equally for all in the criminal justice system and not simply a pipeline from underfunded schools to overcrowded jails, it requires vigilance. That's why we're Democrats, that's why we're here today, and that's why we're going to fight to win in November. With that courage, we can stand together for good jobs and just wages. With that courage, we can stand together for the right for health care in every person in the richest nation on earth. With that courage, we can stand together for the right of every child in every part of our city, state, and nation to get an education that stirs the mind and captures the spirit and prepares them for the world that awaits them. And with that courage, we can feed the hungry and house the homeless and transform the bleak wastelands of poverty into fields of commerce and promise and justice. That is how history bends, and that's what we're here for today. So pledge today to get your friends, families, neighbors, and even strangers to vote, because what happens when we vote?
We win!
I like it. When Carol asked me to talk to you this morning, I thought I'd give you just a quick round of what's happening in the world. Your own little MSNBC advertisement of putting chaos in the sense. So I'll talk just a couple minutes about what's happening in the world, and then we'll just have a few questions and make sure that you get out of here at a reasonable hour before the restaurant opens. But what I thought I would do is just try and make sense out of the fog of the international world, and then open it up for some quick questions. On one level, President Trump has done exactly what he said he'd do in the campaign. He's pulled out of international agreements, fought for a trade war, and in a way put his version of America first from the isolationists of the 1930s. I don't even think he knows the history of that phrase, but he is actually, all of us thought he would moderate, and he's done exactly the opposite. On the plus side, he did actually largely defeat ISIS in Syria. He did renegotiate a minor update to NAFTA, and he is getting our NATO partners to pay a teeny bit more than they might have otherwise. But he's also fundamentally changing our courts. Roe v. Wade is now at risk of being overturned. He's increased the deficit by $2 trillion. $2 trillion. Slammed the door shut on immigration, both legal and illegal, and his base loves it. Look around driving over here, all the Trump signs you see, and he's just going to dig down more and more on that racist, xenophobic message. He's also withdrawn from the Iran nuclear deal, brought us to the brink of war with Iran, started the process of withdrawing from the Climate Paris Accord, pulled out of the Trans-Pacific Trade Partnership deal, put tariffs on steel and aluminum, started a trade war with China, paid for by U.S. workers, not by China. It's a war on the middle class. He's also undermined our alliances by cozying up to Vladimir Putin, the Crown Prince Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, Duterte of the Philippines, and fallen in love with the dictator and murderess Kim Jong-un of North Korea. None of this is in our interest. And now he's been impeached for obstruction of justice and abuse of power. He's held up nearly $400 million of critical military aid to Ukraine in exchange for dirt on a political rival. That is not okay. And what is wrong with the Republicans in Congress who are just turning a blind eye and helping with that cover-up? This is not who we are as Americans.